Hey, Mom. Is now a good time? I just wanted to remind you that we're going to be at the Oritz's house around noon tomorrow. Do you want me to pick you up so that I could take you there?
Oh, I suppose it doesn't really matter either way. I'm more than happy to take my own car to their place.
Oh, come on. You know that you don't have to go and do something like that, Mom. I'm more than happy to give you a ride up there. It's not like you're worried about me driving, right?
Oh, Rick, don't be silly. Of course I'm not worried about your driving or anything like that at all. It's just been a while since I've been in a car where you've been the driver is all. I'm not worried so much as I might be a little nervous.
Well, there's nothing to be worried or anxious or nervous or trepid or anything like that about me driving you, Mom. I mean, if anything, I imagine people tend to be quite scared when you're the driver. But anyways, I was just thinking that it would be easier for everyone if you and I just went and left together, don't you think?
Yes, you might actually be right about that, Rick. By the way, that reminds me that I actually just got a message from Mr. Ortiz saying that he has a last-minute meeting and that he's going to be a little bit late arriving tomorrow.
Oh, I see. Okay, then. Guess that just means that we're going to be meeting Maria's mother tomorrow, then, I guess. By the way, Mom, you do know about Maria's mother, right? I wonder what she knows about you. I hope this all goes well.
I imagine that she might not actually know much about me at all, but I guess we don't know until we talk to her.
But what if she doesn't know about you? I mean, what if her husband just never told her? I don't know. Isn't that something that a husband would probably tell his wife?
I think that after you get married and have kids, that what is considered normal really starts to go out the window. But anyways, you're going to be getting married soon yourself, so I guess you'll find out about what I mean soon enough.
Right. I guess I'll do my best to learn all I can then.
And of course, I'm just so happy that things are going so well with Maria that you've decided that you want to marry her. But I do have to say that I was just a little bit surprised to hear about how fast this all happened. I mean, are you really sure that this is the woman you want to spend your life with?
Well, if I can be honest with you, Mom, I am getting just a little nervous. There are a few things on my mind.
A few things on your mind? What are you talking about? What's bothering you, son?
Well, it's just that when I mentioned to Maria's mom that you were the only parent I had around when I was growing up, because you were a single mother and all, well, it's like her attitude completely changed.
Her attitude? What do you mean by that? How did she change when she heard about that?
So, at first, Maria's mom, Carla, was really, really excited to meet you, and she would talk all the time about when she finally would, and how excited she was to get to know you better. But then, as soon as I mentioned that you were the only parent that I had, she basically stopped talking about how excited she was to meet you and all that. In fact, after I told her that I was raised by a single mom, she asked if I had any reason to ever even go back to see you at home.
Oh, I see. So you're saying that you think Maria's mom might have something against single-parent families or something like that, then? Well, I guess I'll find out for myself just what kind of woman she is tomorrow when we all meet. And I suppose if there are still things that need to be discussed or talked about, then we can cross that bridge when we get to it.
I know, but I was so shocked that she even said that. I just hope that tomorrow when we've all finally met each other that nobody has anything rude to say to anyone else. I would just really hate for the meeting to turn really tense and awkward, and well, you know how much I hate scenarios like that.
Of course, Rick, but I'm sure that everything is going to be just fine. I mean, maybe it really doesn't have any deeper meaning, and she was just speaking to speak. I really don't know and don't want to assume what she might have been thinking, but maybe she was asking about if you would have come to visit because she was worried about how busy I might be. I suppose it might still be too early to just assume that she has something against single mothers, right?
You're right, Mom. We shouldn't be so fast to judge, and maybe I'm just getting myself all worked up over nothing. But it's just what seemed to make the most sense to me at the time.
I see. Well, if that's the case, then I really don't think that there's anything to worry about. And I think that you and I should just look forward to meeting Maria and her family tomorrow. Oh, no. Oh, please don't tell me that you've already gone home. Now, why would you go and do something like that? I mean, you came all the way here, and you didn't even have a chance to sit down and relax, and now you're already heading back home? I certainly hope that everything is okay. This is Carla, Maria's mom, isn't it? I really don't know why you're texting me like this after what you pulled. I mean, what was that all about just now? I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I can certainly tell you that I had no idea that you raised your son as a single mother. And once I did actually learn that, I realized that someone like you has no place in this family at all. Did you figure that out too? Is that why you left without me having to ask? I left because you didn't even have a seat arranged for me. It's not like you didn't know that I was going to be coming here with my son. If you know that 2 guests were coming to your house and one of them was the mother of the man your daughter was going to marry, wouldn't you arrange to have a seat for her? Instead, you just said so many horrible things about my being a single parent and demanding that I stand since I wasn't good enough to sit. I actually couldn't believe that you said that to me. I mean, I don't think I've ever had anyone talk to me like that before. Oh my, I'm quite sure that there has to be some kind of mistake here. After all, I never said any of that at all. I really wish that I was making a mistake here, but I know what I heard, and what's more, I don't know what other meaning your words could have had. Well, I don't know why you're so upset about this. After all, even my daughter Maria was agreeing with what I had to say about you. Did Maria really agree with what you were saying? Does that mean that both you and Maria have just been looking down on me this whole time? Of course we look down on you. That's what you do to people who are so far down the food chain from you. After all, you must know that my husband works for a company and earns a nice salary. Thanks to his hard work, my little Maria has never had to know what it's like not to get her way when she wants something. But you had to raise your poor little son all by yourself, isn't that right? You know what they say about sons raised in single-mother households, don't you? I mean, who knows how Rick is really going to turn out? I surely hope you can understand how, coming from a family like mine, that a single parent can only come as one of the most pathetic people in existence. You're saying that my whole existence is pathetic? I'm sorry, but I would like to know just why you think me being a single parent necessitates any of that. Oh, really? You mean you want to continue what I was saying to you before you left? Well, I would be more than happy if you would just return here. Of course, if you do come back here, I'm still not going to give a lowlife like you a chair to sit in. I stand by what I said about people like you needing to stand. So you mean that instead of trying to apologize, you're just going to double down? Are you really sure that you want to do this to me? I mean, do you really think that you're going to get away with this? What in the world are you talking about? Is that all you have to say to me? Is that supposed to be some kind of threat or something? I know that you can't do anything to me at all. The fact of the matter is that you and I are completely different levels, and that a woman like you couldn't do anything to affect me even if she tried. And you just won't stop with all of the name-calling either. Do you really not see how you're being very rude right now? After all, this is the first time that we're even meeting. I don't think I could ever talk to someone who I just met the way that you're talking to me. But am I to take the way that you're talking to me and treating me as a reflection of how you feel about our children getting married? Don't be ridiculous, you silly woman. Of course this has nothing to do at all with our children getting married. Sorry, what do you mean by that? You're saying that your feelings for me and the marriage are completely separate? Of course. Why in the world would I be against an upstanding young man like Rick marrying my daughter Maria? I think they would make a wonderful couple together. After all, Rick works a good job and earns a good salary, so I know that he's able to provide for Maria. The only problem here, the only thing that I'd like to get rid of, is you. So you're saying that you basically just want me to hand over my son to your family and just disappear from the picture entirely? Well, I'm glad that you put it that way. Seems like we're finally getting closer to being on the same page now. And you should know that there won't be a seat for you at their wedding either. I can guarantee you that. Please, this is just getting silly. Are you being serious? You're going to try and keep me from going to my own son's wedding? Of course I'm serious. What about any of this makes you think that I'm not? I'm deadly serious about getting you out of the picture. I see. Well, I guess if you're going to act this way, then I know what I need to do. But I'm just going to warn you now that you probably should have waited for your husband to get back home before you started treating me the way that you were. Oh, please, what does my husband have to do with this at all? You think that he would have come to your defense? A nobody like you has nothing to do with my husband at all. Well, either way, I am certainly not going to be returning to your home to receive more of that. So thank you for your time today, and goodbye. Now, hold on just a second. I still need to make sure that after our children get married, that you're going to stay out of Rick's life forever. I mean, haven't you figured out at this point that you're only weighing him down from what he could really be? I think that an old woman like you needs to learn her place and get lost. After all, I can't think of a single family that would agree to let their child marry the child of a single parent and still want to keep that parent around. There's a reason why I didn't arrange a seat for you, and it's because you're not wanted or needed here.
Don't you realize what you've done? You've just condemned our whole family, Carla.
Our family? What are you talking about now? Have you gone crazy or something?
No, you silly woman. It's me, Pedro. I'm on my way home right now. So you just wait at home for us to talk, okay?
Wait, what? Pedro? Is that really you? Why in the world are you with Tammy right now? Oh, your husband was in quite the rush, so he only had a short time to write you some messages. Anyways, I actually just bumped into him outside of the house and was explaining to him a bit about what happened between us. And I made sure to show him all of the messages that you had been sending to me this whole time as well. Wait, what? I still don't understand what's going on here. What do you mean you talked to him outside of the office? Are you talking about his office? Why do you know where my husband works? I'm sorry, but now that I've heard that even my son has given up on trying to hang in there with you all and is going home, I really don't think that there's any more need for us to talk to each other. But thank goodness. I am really so happy that we dodged this bullet. I mean, having my son marry your daughter and having to deal with you would be just terrible. So I can happily say goodbye, and please never ever bother me again. Oh, wait. Oh, just wait. I'm so confused. What's going on right now? Please, you have to explain what's happening. What are you talking about? Why should I have to wait? What am I waiting for? I don't really see what else you and I even have to talk about at this point. I mean, after your husband heard about the way that you were treating me, he completely freaked out. He apologized profusely to me for the way that you were behaving, and I think that this really isn't my problem anymore. If anything, you're going to have to deal with it at home once your husband is back for the day. So then, Pedro really knows all about what I was saying to you? You really told him everything? How do you even know my husband? What is going on here? Well, I know where he works at least. Do I really need to go into any more detail than that? Wait, just 1 second. I just got a message from Pedro. Oh, he's telling me that you're the president of the company where he works? Is that really true? How could this be? That can't be right at all. I'm sure that you think it can't be possible that someone like me could be a company president, let alone for the company that your husband works for. But these days, there are many kinds of people who are taking leadership roles in the corporate world. I don't really see why my position should be all that shocking at all. Besides, are you telling me that you don't even believe what your own husband is trying to tell you about me? Well, it's just that, well, I mean, you're a single mother. How could someone like you climb so high up the corporate ladder? Oh, this doesn't make any sense to me at all. You're supposed to be poor and stupid, and the poor and the stupid aren't meant to lead companies, especially not the one that my husband works for. I'm sorry, but I think the only one here who firmly believes something like that is you, Carla. And I suppose that you based your treatment of me on all of these assumptions of yours as well. But the truth is that you really don't know anything at all, do you? But, I mean, this isn't fair. How was I supposed to know that you were my husband's boss? Nobody ever told me about this. Oh yes, I can certainly see that you had no idea of who I am at all now. But is that supposed to be my fault? After all, it's your husband who works for me. Don't you two ever talk to each other at all? Excuse me, how dare you question how my husband and I communicate? You don't know what you're talking about at all. Are you really sure about that? Because I think that I can probably take a couple of educated guesses at the very least. After all, it seems to me like you two don't actually communicate when it comes to important details like this. And because you two don't communicate with each other, you had no idea that not only was the mother of your daughter's fiancé coming to visit, but that I was also your husband's boss. I mean, I just don't understand how you actually had no idea who I am. But nobody told me anything. This isn't my fault. I just thought that you were the mother of my daughter's fiancé, and that's it. Well, I'm not sure that this all has to fall on you and your husband, you know. After all, it sounds to me like your daughter shares some of your own biases, and she might have been giving you bad information as well. And I suppose you heard all that, and you just took the word of what person had to say about me and assumed you knew the rest of my character. But, I mean, come on. There's no way that my daughter didn't know that she was dating the son of a company president. I mean, how could she not know about the mother of her own fiancé? But surely if she knew about you, then she would have told me from the very start, so maybe she didn't know after all. Yes, well, it seems like your husband was worrying about how he should best introduce me to you all. Although now I have to wonder why your husband didn't say anything sooner. Does anyone ever talk to each other at your house? I mean, I don't even know what to say to this at all. I'm just so confused as to what's going on right now. Although now I'm curious about how you've treated other people from work that your husband has brought home for you to meet. Of course I treated them very courteously. I would never want to disrespect someone that my husband was bringing home from work. I see. So then basically you were just treating me the way that you were treating me because of your assumptions about single mothers? And yet even though you knew that you weren't going to like me, you still arranged for this meeting just to snub me like this? I'm sorry, but I can't see how any rational adult would think that that's an appropriate way to act. I was only thinking about my daughter. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have someone who could hurt our family getting near us is all. I see. And you think that the way you were treating me was the best way to go about achieving that? I mean, I can understand making someone want to leave your house in a huff, but did you really think that by doing that we were going to convince my son to abandon me just to marry your daughter? I mean, well, I guess that's what I was hoping was going to happen, but now I don't even know. I see. Well, I'm afraid that my son just isn't that kind of person, and I'm afraid that he isn't going to be marrying anyone that would try and make him that person. I only thought that if my daughter ended up marrying your son and you were still going to be sticking around, that you might try and take advantage of my family is all. I thought that one day you might come around asking for money or someplace to live or something like that, and so I was only trying to prevent you from getting comfortable with us. Oh, trust me, you made me plenty uncomfortable. You don't need to worry about that. But I just have to tell you that after this little show, not just myself, but even my son is sick and tired of you. Both you and your daughter for the way that you were insulting me and making me feel unwelcome. I just wish that he never ended up meeting your daughter in the first place so that we didn't have to go through this whole song and dance. But, oh please, you can't do this to me. My husband is going to be furious with me for doing this. I just know it. I don't know what to do. Oh no, he just sent me a text saying he never even wants to talk to Maria or I again. Oh, please tell me that that's some kind of joke. I have no idea why you think I can answer that question for you at all. I mean, I'm not a part of your family, and that really isn't my business at all. Sounds to me like something that you need to work out between yourself and your husband, so please leave me out of your personal drama. But, you can't just pretend like you don't have a part in this. This whole thing is your fault, don't you see that? You shouldn't have gone to Pedro about all of this. What are you talking about? Your husband and I work together. I ran into him in the office. Why wouldn't I tell him about this? Because now you've gotten me into serious trouble. And just why is any of that my problem? If you've gotten into trouble just because people found out something that you've done, then you probably shouldn't have been doing that in the first place. But I'll also take this chance to tell you that the engagement between our children is officially off. Oh, please, you can't actually be serious about this, right? Oh, things were going so smoothly before this. Why are you ruining the love that our children have for each other? It was all supposed to go so smoothly from here on out, too. We were going to start talking wedding details and getting serious, and now you've gone and ruined everything. I'm sorry, but this is your own fault. If you hadn't shown your true character, then maybe my son and I would still be fooled by your fake personality. Fake personality? How can you say that about me? What is the matter with you? But more than anything else, I just feel bad for your daughter. I think that my son and her really had deep feelings for each other. But you had to brainwash her with your silly biases, and you made it so that she was just as unreasonable as you. Okay, now hold on just 1 second there. You can insult me all you want, but don't you bring my daughter into this. I wish that I didn't have to, but you brought her into this long before now. But anyways, I really don't have the time to waste on explaining all of this to you anymore. So I think that we're done here. I only hope that you never ever trouble anyone else in the same way that you've troubled me and my family. And so that's how my son ended up breaking off his engagement with his fiancée. Of course, he was crushed to learn the truth of the woman that he thought he was ready to marry. And I was so sad that my son had been so emotionally hurt by the experience. But later on, I heard from Pedro that when he got home, he was so upset with how his wife and daughter had treated me, his boss, that he demanded that they leave the house. Since then, I've heard that Pedro has begun divorce proceedings. After our conversation, Carla and Maria both began to blow up my phone and begged me to change my mind and talk to my son. But I ignored all that they had to say to me. I never wanted to see them again, let alone have to talk to them over the phone. And so in the end, Carla and Maria were left houseless and without a job. They became the very things that they had looked down on me for being. I suppose life is funny like that sometimes. As for Rick and I, my son has been spending more time than ever with me since he feels bad for how I was treated by his fiancée and her family. I told him not to worry about it and to just be a bit more careful choosing a partner in the future. I still see Pedro in the office when I go in. At first he was looking so tired and defeated. I talked to him, and he said that he is seeking help and thinks that he'll be okay. I told him that my door is always open if he needs to talk, and that there will be a seat for him.